Yes, guys, so welcome back to Leicester Fan TV. Obviously, some big news that's happened that we've just heard from John Percy himself on Twitter that Leicester City will not be facing any PSR charges. So we'll not be facing any points deductions from now on, pretty much, from this season. So pretty much a clean slate going into the rest of the season, into the second half of this year, we thought that it could be looming, and that with the way we played so far, that a points deduction would pretty much put us down and out. But there's another fighting chance, really. We've been put into this position again. We thought we might get one earlier in the year, and that would put us in a very tricky situation to start the season off. And that we thought now we might get one and put us down there, the same points around Southampton. But that is not the case. We have been confirmed by, like I said, John Percy, again, very reliable source for the Leicester City news. And yeah, really, I think it's a spark of good news that we needed, that we need to push ourselves onto now. This week, the remaining games for the season, and let's try and get out of this. And also, really, hence why we put a little bit of transfer news on, is can we go and sign some players now? Have we got the money to go and sign them?
Yeah, like I say, it's big news. I honestly was 50-50 on whether we were going to be charged. I know it's all very much what's happening, because even you said just before we went live that I thought we were charged already. I thought we were nearly charged already before. But I think it's a rolling 3 years. I think it comes in every 3 years, or once 1 year happens, the next 2 years counts as that third year again. But like you said, we've escaped it. I'm not going to say escaped it. We've not faced any charges because we didn't do anything wrong. And I said to you before that I think that Dewsbury Old deal that we did with Chelsea probably did sort us out, because that was what, 35 million free cash, because that 5 million we paid for Golding.
I'm sure there was some kind of work. Was it around? We didn't 35 million.
It was 40 million for Dewsbury Old, but we used 5 million of that to buy Golding, which
it probably helped.
But it was free cash because he was a homegrown player, so that was a complete 35 million pound.
Yes, there's a difference between 35 million. Say if we sold about fives for 35 million,
yes, we'd only make
for 35 million. There's a difference. I get that. Let's read some comments, because I'm sure people are going to be buzzing. So let's go from the top.
Terence says happy days.
Terence says it. Scott saying Premier League must be seething. I'm sure they're very much not happy. But obviously, like we said, this isn't a guaranteed staying up now.
No.
Because I can assure you that if we were to still get relegated, the Championship and the EFL and even the Premier League, even when we're down in Championship, they're going to pull the trousers down and bend us over backwards completely and entirely. That is what they would try and do.
It is a big boost, though. Honestly, I don't know if the players are on their minds about maybe something coming in. I think the club were quite confident in saying that they didn't break anything. I know a lot of the financial experts who have been on all the social media and whatnot saying, there is a chance they could break it, but it's a massive boost for us now. And I think all of us in the office said today that now it's confirmed that we're not getting breached for anything. Surely you put money in to get players in to make sure we stay up, because this is where you now do take the risk, buy some players, maybe a bit more than we have done
and get a points deduction next year. Then a bit like what Forest did.
You stay up, and then you've got a bit more. You get another 100 million if you stay up this year.
Yeah,
just for staying up.
Like you said, just take that. I only would take that chance personally, because we're going to get done either way next year. So I think.
Is that Sam smiling? Ivan says it's great news. What boost to go out and beat Palace? You should hopefully see that. Again, I don't know how much was in the players' minds to think, we're going to get a point deduction, but we've escaped a point deduction twice now. Once being escaping from it, and once just not getting charged for it. But that's now, I'd say, much more of a big boost to go into it. Buzz says get in, lads. Buzz says bring in Haaland. I don't think that's going to be the case.
Not quite that extreme.
I'm not going to bring Marks coming up, as much as we know it is down to Woodkin in some ways. It's not about that today. We want to make sure we can get all the positivity in here. Gary says good news now. Let's get players in. Again, we've heard that yesterday that we were looking for a winger, a striker, and a centre back. We seems to have a right back in now, to either bolster that spot or to take place of Justin. Curtis here says let's beat Palace now, not tomorrow night. Massive game tomorrow. It is, Sam. And obviously, we have spoke about it last night on Phil's show about tomorrow's game. But going to this game now, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more fans in the ground tomorrow. That's going to be a lot more up for it than ever, because of this again looming on people's minds.
I'm sure the fan. it doesn't feel the same as the first one because I feel like it's come around as quickly as it's gone this time.
Yeah.
So I'm not so sure it'd be looming around the fans. I think it was probably quite a quick, decision where we're not as panic. I don't know. It feels a little bit different because I feel like I only knew about it last week, and the fact that it's come and gone this quickly.
Well, that's because you only had 2 weeks to submit your accounts in to when you actually get either punished or not.
So
Scott here says, let's hope some smart business in the transfer market to get up to the table and restructure in the summer. I would say a restructure in the summer is probably needed if we stay up. You need to put a lot of that parachute payment money into getting more signings if we do stay up next year, because you get £100 million for staying up. Let's see what we can say. Scott also says, in hindsight, if we go down, all the super flops will be moved on and academy players will be given minutes, which I guess in terms is fine, but will these academy players be good enough to go back up into the Premier League if we do get relegated? Probably not.
I think you'd be surprised because a lot of the players probably won't be moved on because, again...
Well, FaZe wants to leave.
Yeah, but I mean, FaZe is an exception, but I think you'll find a lot of players are going to be happy at Leicester just because of the wages that they're on. And that's part of the reason why, we've been under this scrutiny for points deduction is because we're paying players like in the Championship, Jamie Vardy, for example, 140 grand a week, and players like Yannick Vestergaard, who's on 70 grand a week, who barely got a minute until we got relegated into the Championship. It's just bad business moves, like you say, from the higher ups at the club, and even players like Edouard, who are on loan, we were paying a lot of money for him to he's played 25 minutes in the Premier League, as it was mentioned in last night's show. So it's one of those things where we've got to move forward, and we'll see how the club takes it. We really need to start to make some good signings now if we are really considering staying up, because we need to improve the squad. I think the players that we have right now as well, they need to book up their ideas a little bit more, and I also think Ruud needs to book up his ideas a little bit more. I think we need to start playing better as a team, and pick out some of the better places to play. As I said on our show before the QPR game, we really need to start playing to the players' strengths and not just because we want to follow a system.
Yeah, I get you. Before we do finish, I'll bring this post just again. Asking what John Percy says on Twitter. New news is that Leicester will not be charged for any charges breaching PSR. No complaint has been brought forward against Leicester for the Premier League for any breaches of the PSR for the period ending 23-24, which is a huge boost for Leicester and Ruud van Nistelrooy, of course. Sam, last few views for you then before we do finish. Like I say, going into tomorrow night's game, it's going to be massive now, isn't it? Making sure you get that 3 points, go and try and stay up in the Premier League.
You answer that first. Answer yourself.
What? It's going to be a big 3 points, surely. Like, you've got to go into this game now. Yes, like you were saying, it's come round quick, so we can't have it looming on our mind for months and months. But...
every game's big now going forward. Every game this season that we need to start to pick up some points to get ourselves out of the bottom 2 spot, because realistically we are going to need to start to pick up points against teams that we shouldn't have, like when you drop points to teams like Wolves, and earlier in the season you maybe could make the argument for some of the teams like Everton and stuff like that, where the points aren't, where we don't get as many points as we would like, the points that you need to stay up. You are now going to have to start fishing against some of these teams like Palace, who, in hindsight and retrospect, they should probably come and do a decent job, and they probably would say they'd want at least a draw against us. The PSR thing, it's not going to be looming over Palace's players' head at all. The fact that we've now not got a points deduction, I'm not so sure it's looming over our players' heads, really.
No, I'm not saying that, but again, with this kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, but this coming off our minds to be like, we've got no more point deduction coming in this season, which again people have been saying that the speculation that there was. Now I'm even more confident now to go into tomorrow's game thinking we can get something more than I did yesterday.
I'd only be confident if the players and the manager want to turn up and do something, because the past 5 games there's been a really poor, performances from them. It's not, and again it's the basics, and I've said it the past few times, if you can't score and you can't defend, you're not going to stay in this league. And that is the basics. We ain't scoring and we ain't defending, because we've let in over 20 goals. We've not scored Obviously,
scored
minus
6
minus
goals.
QPR in the Premier League, we've only scored eight goals and we let in 21.
Well,
So
we've just got to hope, mate. Got to hope.
But and again, even against QPR, we made mistakes. I mean, I'm hoping
Yes.
if it needs to be a boost for the players, then fine, so be it. But we need to start turning up now, and we need to start playing now. And we're lucky that this is the second time PSR's tried to get us, and it's not worked out for them. If we don't start performing, if the players don't want to be out there, if the manager can't get them working on all cylinders, then it is just relegation for us. We need to start. This is the time now. You know, with the second time we did a points deduction this season. If we're not going to start to perform and try and get ourselves out of this bottom three now, you know, 2 home games, 2 fixtures where they're not going to be easy, but we need to get some points out of them, at least 4 if you ask me.
Yeah.
If we don't do it this week, I don't know when we're going to turn up, because like you said last night, that the fixtures are going to be a lot tougher after this. You know, we're going to have to start to pick up some points against teams that we should be picking up points of, and also teams that we shouldn't be picking up points. So when's it going to start?
Yeah, there you go, guys. As you can see, we have not escaped. I keep wanting to say escape. We haven't escaped. We've not been charged at all, as you can see from the tweet from John Percy. Appreciate you all coming on to see the news and watch us again at 12:30 to watch us talk tactics for the Crystal Palace game tomorrow. So I appreciate you all coming on, and we'll catch you on the next show. See you in a bit.